Tell you what, this is the time to hand it over to Kunal for this week's edition of Buy Now, Sell Now Pathshaala. Now, Kunal, we've already talked about this week's edition and how we're waiting by for it. Tell us about trend reversal patterns.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. After I think few weeks of major pain for the markets, I think it's good that we are discussing the trend reversal patterns. So today's pattern which I would want to highlight are the doji patterns, which generally gets observed when the stock prices are at the end of a corrective wave. Now we've seen corrections into stock prices. This is a sample chart how long-legged doji as a candlestick pattern shapes up. After a phase of correction, there is this major candle which gets formed for stock prices, where we call it as indecisiveness, because after weeks, maybe days of price correction, there comes a point when there is a strong fight between bulls and bears, and the stock prices, after opening with a gap down and then moving further lower with an intraday high, they close almost on a net flattish basis, and that generally indicates that this could be a potential sign of reversal. And what follows post that is a steady up move for the stock prices, where after weeks or days of correction, after such kind of a long leg doji formation, we expect the stock to move up higher. So we'll take a few examples over here of how or what happens in stock price trends in the actual terms. Now this Federal Bank, for example, in the recent past, there was a phase where Federal Bank went through a very sharp correction, and as you can see that from 145 levels thereabouts, the stock fell down to as much as closer 165 thereabouts. The stock fell down to as much as 145 mark. Now this was a phase where after days of selling, sharp selling, gap down, and then an immediate sell off for the stock, there was a long leg doji formation, and this formed a major reversal point for the stock price, and this low which was formed closer to this 145 levels was not breached for the stock price going forward, and we see the stock moving up higher, trying to recuperate the losses which was there in the previous trend for itself. Again, on a very similar terms, if you can see this is again a very similar kind of a long leg doji formation. Of course, the body for this candlestick pattern is slightly more higher than the body of the previous candlestick pattern over here, but then again this indicates that the stock is getting ready for a reversal. We'll take one more example over here of how the doji formation generally gets spotted on the charts. This is ACC. After the stock going to a downtrend from 2500 to almost 2150 mark, there was again a point where the stock formed such a kind of a doji formation. This marked the change of trend for the stock, and the major bearishness which was existing into the stock price completely reversed. You can see the kind of green candles the stock formed post that kind of a long leg doji formation. So it's a very classic formation, generally gets observed when the markets are bottoming out or stock prices are at the end of a selling kind of a trend.
So Kunal's take as far as this week's Pathshaala is concerned. Kunal, just to give you a little bit of background, we already have greetings pouring in terms of viewers wishing that you had kept this on cricket, but I think another time for that. And that was trend reversal patterns, Ankita.
Absolutely.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.